Every time you drive a car without grinding gears, without stalling at traffic lights, without needing perfect clutch timing, you're experiencing the genius of a black engineer named Richard Bowie Spikes. In 1932, he patented improvements to the automatic gear shift that transformed how humans interact with vehicles. But you've probably never heard his name. Let's fix that. Born on October 2, 1878 in Dallas, Texas, Richard Bowie Spikes entered a world that offered almost nothing to black engineers. Higher education was barred. Industry positions were closed. Patent recognition was rare. But Spikes, like many early black innovators, refused to be limited by the era's racial barriers. He became a self-taught mechanical expert, experimenting with machines, improving existing tools, and filing patents throughout his life. His father, Monroe Spikes, was a barber, and Richard learned to cut hair in his father's shop as a young man. He was also a talented musician, playing piano and violin. In October 1900, at age 22, Richard married Lula Bell Charlton, daughter of an ex-slave who co-founded the first black public schools in Beaumont, Texas. While in Beaumont, Richard briefly worked as a teacher. The couple had one son, Richard Don Quixote Spikes. But Richard's real passion was inventing. His mind operated with persistent logic. If something could work better, then it should. And he spent his entire life making things work better. In April 1907, while living in Bisbee, Arizona, Spikes patented a beer tap connected to a keg that used tubing to ease the release of beer while improving freshness over time. Milwaukee Brewing Company purchased the patent. That technology is still in use today in bars and restaurants worldwide. In October 1910, while living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he patented a self-locking rack for billiard cues. In December 1920, now residing in Fort Bragg, California, he patented a trolley pole arrestor that would automatically pull down the pole when the circuit broke to prevent damaging the trolley wire. In 1921, he patented a brake testing machine that the Oakland Police Department tested and used. In 1923, he patented a pantograph for conveying electrical current to trolley wires. In 1926, he patented a combination milk bottle opener and cover. Each invention solved everyday problems. Each new idea sharpened his engineering intuition and showed manufacturers that he possessed rare talent. But the automobile, still evolving and unreliable in the 1920s, presented a challenge different from anything he'd handled before. Early cars were nightmares to operate. Changing gears required a delicate dance of timing, clutch manipulation, and physical strength. For everyday people, especially new drivers, it was intimidating. Cars stalled constantly. Engines were overloaded. Accidents were common. Engineers searched for solutions, but most approached the problem from purely mechanical perspectives. Spikes saw it differently. Where others saw mechanical frustration, he saw the opportunity to redesign not only the gear shift, but the entire experience of operating a vehicle. The issue wasn't the vehicle itself. It was how humans interacted with it. The gear system needed to evolve to match human capabilities rather than demanding expert-level coordination. In December 1932, Richard Spikes received U.S. Patent 1,889,C814 for modifications to the automatic gear shift device. His improvements were based on automatic transmissions first invented by the Sturtevant brothers in 1904, but Spikes took the concept further. His patent described a mechanism that allowed gears to transition smoothly and automatically, removing the jerky movements and precise coordination previously required. His system kept the gears for various speeds in constant mesh. The driver simply had to actuate the lever for the speed desired and then depress the automobile clutch pedal, whereupon the drive and driven shafts would automatically connect together at the desired gear ratio. Since the various sets of gears were constantly in mesh, there would be no clashing of gears when shifting from speed to speed, making the transmission silent in operation. Imagine the difference it made. Prior to Spike's work, driving was filled with grinding noises, sudden stalls, and worn-out clutches. With an automatic shift system, the engine could move through gears in fluid motion. It allowed drivers to keep both hands on the wheel, improving safety. It opened driving to people who had been excluded by the technical difficulty of manual transmission. And perhaps most importantly, it laid the foundational principles for the hydraulic and electronic automatic transmissions that developers would refine in later decades. For his innovative designs of transmission and gear-shifting devices, Spikes received over $100,000, an enormous sum for any American in the 1930s, let alone a black man navigating systematic discrimination. But despite earning significant money from his inventions, despite major companies purchasing his patents, despite his work being integrated into automotive engineering, the average driver never heard his name. His designs were patented under his name, but rarely publicized with proper recognition. Spikes didn't work as part of a wealthy research department or university. He was an independent inventor, navigating a world that often refused to credit black innovators equally. Throughout his career, he continued working as a barber, owning and operating shops in San Francisco, Fresno, and Stockton, California. He supported himself through barbering while spending every spare moment inventing. In 1933, he received another patent for transmission and shifting improvements. He didn't stop creating. His mind continued reaching for improvements long after many would have retired. In 1950, at age 72, he patented a horizontally swinging barber's chair, combining his barbering profession with his engineering genius. But by the 1950s, Spikes faced a devastating challenge. His eyesight began to fade due to glaucoma, which also affected other members of his family, including his brother John, who received a patent for a writing aid for the blind. As Richard's vision deteriorated, he refused to stop inventing. In 1962, at age 84, even as he was losing his sight, he was working on an automatic safety brake system for trucks and buses. To complete the brake device while legally blind, he first created a drafting machine for blind designers, allowing him to continue his technical drawings without sight. The brake safety system he designed provided reserve braking action in case of damage to normal braking means. It was adopted by school bus manufacturers across the nation, becoming a fail-safe mechanism that protected millions of children. Spikes is also widely credited with developing automobile directional signals, or turn signals, in the early 1910s, though the specific patent record has yet to be located. The system was first installed on a Pierce Arrow motor car and later became standard in all automobiles. Richard Bowie Spikes died on January 22, 1963, leaving behind a lifetime of patents, mechanical designs, and innovations encoded in the machines we use every day. He held at least 8 U.S. patents awarded between 1907 and 1962, spanning beer taps, billiard racks, trolley systems, automotive transmissions, barber chairs, and safety brakes. To appreciate the significance of his innovation, imagine the world without it. Consider the millions of vehicles that rely on automatic transmissions today. Think of elderly drivers who can navigate roads without mastering clutch timing. Think of commuters, delivery workers, and travelers who rely on smooth, effortless driving. Think of the global automobile industry, which gained billions in revenue from technologies rooted in Spike's ideas. His work touched nearly every continent, every roadway, every household with a car. Though invisibly woven into modern life, his contribution shaped an entire century of transportation. Spike's automatic gear system helped democratize the automobile, making it accessible and appealing to masses. The car became not just a machine for experts or the wealthy, but a universal symbol of freedom. With the stress of gear changing lifted, driving grew easier and safer. Families drove farther. Cities expanded outward. Road trips became part of cultural identity. And behind this transformation stood the brilliance of a black engineer whose name most people still don't know. Spikes exemplifies a tradition of quiet determination driving innovation. His life reminds us that overlooked figures often hold keys to major technological revolutions. Scholars continue to revisit his patents, piecing together the impact he left behind. What they reveal is a legacy of ingenuity and resilience. His automatic gear system wasn't a minor adjustment. It was a reimagining of how humans and machines interact. It set the stage for fully automatic transmissions introduced by major automotive companies in the 1940s and beyond. These later systems expanded upon foundations he laid, integrating hydraulic pressure, torque converters, and eventually computer-controlled shifting. In many ways, Richard Spikes wrote the first chapter of a technological story the world is still writing today. As we move deeper into an era of electric and autonomous vehicles, the historical thread connecting modern innovations to earlier breakthroughs becomes clearer. Every effortless shift, every smooth acceleration contains a shadow of Spike's early designs. Though many vehicles today no longer rely on traditional gears the same way, the concept of automation, machines thinking for themselves to improve human experience, remains central. Spikes was one of the earliest architects of that idea within transportation. It's a tragedy that his name faded from mainstream narratives. Yet rediscovering his story allows us to restore him to the place he deserves, among the great innovators of the modern age. The world remembers Henry Ford for mass production, Gottlieb Daimler for engine design, and Carl Benz for the earliest automobiles. But the world that emerged from their machines, the world of accessible, user-friendly driving, belongs just as much to Richard Spikes. His mind smoothed the road for millions, even if the road didn't always smooth itself for him. In looking back upon his life, we're offered a reminder about the cost of overlooked genius. How many innovations were sparked by minds society dismissed? How many technologies were shaped by people whose contributions remain buried by prejudice? Spike stands as a symbol of both remarkable achievement and the injustice of historical invisibility. His story invites us to imagine a world where his name was celebrated, his achievements taught widely, his genius publicly honored. But even without that recognition, the impact of his work remains alive. Anyone who has ever driven across a city, across a state, or across a continent without worrying about shifting gears has experienced his gift. Spike's life teaches us that brilliance can emerge from unexpected places, and that innovation thrives wherever imagination meets determination. Through his automatic gear system, he reshaped the relationship between humans and machines. Through his persistence, he challenged the boundaries society placed around him. And through his legacy, he continues to inspire those who believe that history must be rewritten to include all who helped build it.